Around 1920, FRITZ HAARMANN was being known as a successful entrepreneur. He sold pre-loved clothes and a cheap meat supplier in Germany. FRITZ was loved and respected by the community because he is friendly, and even the police like him that they trust him to give the crucial information. But little did they know, born in 1879, FRITZ loved to play with dolls, putting on the dress and avoid playing with other kids, especially boys. Because of this, his father had sent him to military school when he was 16 to make him a man. He liked studying here, but after a few months, he wanted to quit because he had epilepsy. He then worked at his father's cigar factory for a year before committing his first crime, which is sexual harassment of a boy. He was caught and sent to the psychiatric hospital. After 6 months, he runs and goes to Switzerland. He then engaged with a woman named Erna Lowitz, but they broke up after Erna was pregnant and Fritz needed to go back to Germany to finish his military service. Because of his sickness, he was sent to the hospital for 4 months and was terminated in 1902. When he went back to his father repeatedly tried to send him back to the psychiatric hospital, but he successfully avoided. He then continued his life using his pension that was increased when he was identified as a disabled person. He also gaining money for doing small crimes such as stealing and lying to people. He then was sent to jail for 5 years for stealing, so he does not have to join the First World War. In jail, he fell in love with a pimp named Grans, and after they got out of prison, they decided to live together. He then does 2 work to live his life. First, working with the smuggler group, and one more as a spy for Hanover police. In September 1918, a 17-year-old teenager, Frida ran from home before missing. When his father tried to find him, he found out that Frida has been a friend with Fritz that always bring boys to his home. But when he told the police, he was being ignored as Fritz is one of their precious spies. But after being forced repeatedly, police then agreed to go to Fritz's house. There, they found Fritz laying down with a 13-year-old boy, but there is no sign of Frida. But what they didn't know, actually Frida's head was hidden at the back of the kitchen at the time. Now he was known for selling meat in the dark market. He was known for being friendly and the meat was cheap. In 1919, Germany had faced a chronic economic problem resulting in a lot of families cannot afford to buy a meal. Because of this, Fritz had used the opportunity to hang out at the Hanover train station to find boys that run from home and promise them a meal and a cozy home. After giving food to his victim, he will kill them by biting their neck, leaving a love bite before molesting the corpse. He then cut them and grinding their meat to be sausages or into smaller cuts before being sold as beef or pork meat. The remains will be disposed to the nearby river. For 6 years, the police did nothing about their favorite spy activities, and Fritz is believed to kill around 50 boys that are usually chosen by hand. On May 1924, the police had been forced to give their attention to Fritz after a boy remains had been found at the river near his house. One by one, the skeletons and skulls were found, and 22 male teenager skeletons were found. Hanover police were perceived as not suitable to do the investigation as they were biased towards Fritz. So, 2 detectives from Berlin came to take over the investigation. They then found Fritz attacking a teen in the dark alley near the train station and detained him while the investigation at his house was being done. In the house, They found a wall and floor full of blood traces and more than 100 of his victim clothes. During the trial, Fritz was not hesitating to plead guilty. When he was asked how many that he killed, he answered 30? 40? I don't remember. He then said maybe he had killed around 50 to 70 boys. However, the police only can identify 27 of the victims from 1923 to 1924, and others can't be identified. In the court, Fritz only acted casually while sucking cigar and insulting the people that come. One time when he saw a photo of one of the missing kids, he said to the father of the kid that the kid was so ugly and it was impossible that he was connected to this missing kid. Fritz then being found guilty and sentenced to be beheaded using guillotine on 15 April 1925. His lover, Hans, was sentenced to life imprisonment but then being cut to 12 years. After being sentenced, his head was preserved and given to the medical school. After decades of keeping it, the school then decided to burn the head, at the same time vanish the trace of this vampire of Hanover. The story of Fritz had been turned into a film titled M.